Good morning, Southwest kids. It is so great to be together again this Sunday morning. It is a beautiful day out today, and I hope you plan on having a great rest of the week. We are going to continue our study about Abraham and Sarah and Isaac and Rebecca and talking about the word family, okay? Family is so great. All right. So today we're going to see if you can start out with following directions, okay? So everybody stand up where you're at in the room. All right, so this first instruction is pretend you're riding a camel and you have to get on all fours and walk on all fours, okay? All right, go. Walk on all fours around the room. All right, good job, good job. Okay, now why don't you kneel in a praying position and walk on your knees. So have your hands in a praying position, but then walk on your knees. Can you do that? Okay, good job, good job. Okay, now you may have to do this one later, but pretend you're carrying a glass of water. It's so full. The water is clear to the top and you can't spill it. You can't spill it at all. Okay, walk around the room. Oh, did you spill it? All right. All right, now this one's calling bowing down to God, okay? And you walk around with your hands in the praying position, but touching the floor. And then you walk around. Okay, great job. So I wonder if following my directions was what Abraham felt like when he was following God's directions. He really didn't understand the reasoning why. He thought maybe it was kind of strange that he had to do those things, but Abraham did follow God's directions, didn't he? So what can we learn from Abraham's servant about following God and listening to him for guidance? In what way would you like to be more like Abraham? Do you feel like sometimes you wished, I just wish I would listen to my mom, or I wish I'd listen to my dad so I wouldn't get in trouble? And sometimes we think, why didn't I just listen to God and do what God said? We read the Bible to find out what God says, and sometimes we just wonder, why didn't I listen to what God said to do? All right, so we must follow God closely and listen carefully to his directions to guide us. When we do, we can be confident that God will work for the good in us, okay? So we're going to read Genesis 18, 1 through 15. It's kind of a long one, so y'all have to listen along. All right. The Lord appeared to Abraham near the great tree of Mamre while he was sitting at the entrance to his tent in the heat of the day. Abraham looked up and he saw 3 men standing nearby. When he saw them, he hurried from the entrance of his tent to meet them, and he bowed down low to the ground. He said, "If I have found favor in your eyes, my Lord, do not pass your servant by. Let a little water be brought, and then you may all wash your feet and rest under this tree. Let me go get something to eat so you can be refreshed and then go on your way, now that you have come to your servant." "Very well," they answered. "Do as you say." So Abraham hurried to the tent to Sarah. "Quick," he said, "get 3 sheaves of fine flour and knead it and bake some bread." Then he ran to the herd and selected a choice tender calf, and he gave it to the servant, who hurried to prepare it. And then he brought some curds and milk and the calf, and they prepared, and they set them before them. While they ate, he stood near them under a tree. "Where is your wife Sarah?" they asked. "There in the tent," he said. Then the Lord said, "I will surely return to you about this time next year, and Sarah, your wife, will have a son." Now Sarah was listening at the entrance to the tent, which was behind him. Abraham and Sarah were already old and well advanced in years, and Sarah was way past the age of childbearing. So Sarah laughed to herself as she thought, "After I'm worn out and my master is old, will I now have this pleasure?" Then the Lord said to Abraham, "Why did Sarah laugh and say, 'Will I really have a child when I'm this old? Is anything too hard for the Lord? I will return to you at this appointed time next year, and Sarah will have a son.' Sarah was afraid, so she lied and said, 'I did not laugh.' But he said, 'Yes, you did laugh.'" Okay, so all things are possible with God. Okay, we discussed last week about the different names and what they meant. And Isaac's name is, his means to laugh, okay? And so the joy surrounding the fulfillment of this wonderful promise to Sarah and Abraham was Isaac. And we're going to read in Genesis 21, 1 through 7. Now the Lord was gracious to Sarah as he had said, and the Lord did for Sarah what he had promised. Sarah became pregnant and bore a son to Abraham in his old age, and at the very time God had promised him, Abraham gave him the name Isaac to the son that Sarah bore him. When his son Isaac was 8 days old, Abraham circumcised him as God commanded him. Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born to him. Sarah said, "God has brought me laughter, and everyone who hears about this will laugh with me." And she added, "Who would have said to Abraham and Sarah would nurse children? Yet I have borne him a son in his old age." They were so excited to have Isaac and to have a son and to have the fulfilled promise that God gave them. Okay, so I'm going to read one more verse this morning, and it's out of Genesis 15:6, and it says, "Abram believed the Lord, and he credited it to him as righteousness." Okay, so when God told him that he was going to have a son, and Abraham had prayed for a son, he was just waiting and just believing in God. So God's promise to Abraham to create a wonderful and large family that would bless the whole world. Did God answer Abraham's prayer immediately? No, he didn't. It's like this. It took a while, didn't it? Sometimes it seems that God will never answer our prayer, and we may wonder even if God heard our prayer. But God answers in his own time, and sometimes it feels like we want him to answer it very quickly, like this. Yeah, but it just doesn't happen like that. So God answers in his own time, and God's time is not our time. He knows what is best for us, and he always answers our prayer in a way that will help us. Remember, God may answer your prayer quickly, like that, or he may answer your prayer slowly, like that. But God promises Abraham that he would be the father of a great family, and it took years and years, 100 years, to keep his promise, that he kept it, and he keeps his promises to us as well. So Abraham's was his blessing. He had wealth, he had livestock, and he had a beautiful, loving wife. He had servants and property. God richly blessed him, and he blessed him with giving him the greatest gift, a child. And this child, Isaac, fulfilled the covenant, the promise that God had made to Abraham. Your birth and your life here on earth is an answer to a promise as well. You have been prayed for, and your family has been blessed just because you are part of your family. You make your family better, and you add something to it that nobody else can add to it. It's you. You are a blessing to your family, and your blessing is a family to you. So you be thankful for your family because they are thankful for you. And always remember, if you are a Christian, you always have God's family that you're a part of as well. And that is an awesome family to be in part of God's family. All right, you guys have a great rest of the week.